So, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
First, I
Good
would
evening,
like to thank our key speaker, Deep Singh sir. As, within this short time, he accepted our invitation and came for this class. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for coming. And, sir,
Thank you, ma'am.
not only from RM department, from RD Sociology, some students also joined, was also having entrepreneurship development paper as a DSC paper. So, I would like to request Fasna from second RD department to introduce our key speaker. Fasna, over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Respected chief guest, teachers, and all my dear friends, good afternoon to one and all presented here. It's my privilege and pleasure to welcome our chief guest, Pradeep Singh, who is there with us today. We are delighted to have you with us in this program today, sir. Talking about Pradeep Kumar sir, Pradeep Kumar Singh did his BE in Mechanical Engineering from Bhopal, BA Graduation in History honored from IGNOU, and MBA in International Operations from ICFAI, Bangalore. He also did postgraduate diploma in Translation Studies from IGNOU. He is also certified CSR professional from Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He is also an alumni member of Vision India Foundation, now being transformed to Rashtam School of Public Leadership, which is a premier foundation started by IITians on public policy. He is an entrepreneur and running his own preschools and NTT centers in Lucknow, UP. His entrepreneurship journey started way back in year 2008 by starting one non-franchise preschool at Sanjay Nagar, Bangalore, and since then he is working in education sector. Before this, he was working with corporate in Bangalore and was looking out for procurement and administration. He had worked for 3 years in World Bank project called TEQIP under MHRD at Lucknow. During that project, he got an opportunity to work and learn with all UP government BTech, MTech, MBA colleges and universities. He quit that assignment in the year 2019 due to CSR commitments. Presently, he is working on CSR sector with corporates and several NGOs. He is leading Tata Toyo, a Tata Group company, CSR on school learning implication CSR activity at one of the rural primary school in district Barabanki, UP, and also at Jamshedpur plant, Jharkhand. As CSR professional, his role is to prepare CSR proposals, work for its implementation, monitoring, evaluation as per the CSR standards, and do social audit. He is also on board National General Secretary to Jan Agansha NGO, New Delhi, and CSR advisor for Chetna NGO, Jaipur. Additionally, he is on panel of several other NGOs for CSR advisory and activities. He is being awarded twice for his administrative support to CSR activities by 2 NGOs in 2019. He also did his voluntary work for Kolkata-based non-profit organization Adore India. He is taking weekend sessions for girls at one of the orphanage in Aliganj, Lucknow under Project Sunshine. During COVID-19, he founded Atmanirbhar Bharat on vocational learning with joint efforts of 5 different common shared values organizations and conducted a 40 days webinar series on vocational learning with several organizations, bureaucrats, NGOs, and individuals. His webinar series on vocational learning is still going on with content writing in English, fresh rollover courses, and research work with school teachers or college professors on classroom teaching disruption due to COVID-19. Consecutively, in 2020 and 2021, twice he is being appreciated by Joint Secretary, Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Government of India, and separately appreciated by Mission Director, National Health Mission, Government of UP. On November 1, 2020, he is being nominated by Honorable Vice Chancellor, IGNOU, as Council Member from IGNOU for Institutions Innovation Cell under MIC. His hobby is to write articles, poems, and read biographies of great leaders, entrepreneurs, social activities. He is writing articles on issues of CSR and social awareness, which is being published on monthly Hindi magazine, Social Samvad. Welcome you, sir. And before I hand over to our chief guest, once again, I welcome all of you to this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Fasna. Very nicely you have introduced our chief guest. We are really glad and happy that, sir, you came for this session, and definitely our student will learn lots of things from you. And one more thing I would like to add, actually, sir is conducting many research internship program for our students, especially RD and Sociology and Master of Social student. They are doing different internship program with sir, and sir is having very good networking with different organization and vast experience in this field. So if someone is really interested to join with sir and enhance her learning experience throughout social entrepreneur activity, then I think sir is the right person who can guide us. Okay, thank you. Sir, Pradeep sir, over to you, sir. You can start.
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fasna, for giving my introductory session. It's been actually long back with the corporates, and now I'm into this entrepreneurship journey and CSR. And thank you, Parvati Madam, for introducing our Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative and our workings, how we are working with your institute and also, of course, with other institutions across India and across world. So for today, we are going for this entrepreneurship development activity, and the session is on the same. I request if you can actually run on the slide which has been presented by me to you. Parvati Madam, can slide be actually run, or I need to take from my end? Please let me know.
Sir, then I need some time. I have to upload it.
Okay. So need not to waste the time onto that. Let us begin for those things. Today I will take the session, but I will make it a more interactive one because PPT will do, of course, in the later stages. Once you will come to know what exactly is entrepreneurship is. Presently, I can see on the board there are 37 people. 37, of course. If I exclude myself and Parvati Madam, then 35 or 36. So I would like to know how your perception is about the entrepreneurship. Whenever you are talking to your parents, or whenever you are talking to your teachers, or whenever you are talking among yourself, among your friends, what is the perception of your actually? How many of you are saying that I want to be an entrepreneur? Please let me know. 2 or 3 people. Please switch on your mic and please let me know what is your perception or what is your parents' perspective into this, because this is very much necessary once we are. Can anyone say into that, or I keep on carrying on that? Okay, I'm not seeing much of the talk also. See, once we are going for an entrepreneurship, firstly there are certain barriers which is needs to be actually taken care, and these barriers are the social barriers, the technical barriers, the financial barriers. There are 3 major barriers into this. How come the social barriers is whenever we are talking to our parents or whenever we are talking to our teachers, if you see across schools, what we are teaching to our students, you have to become a doctor, you have to become a lawyer, or you have to become a scientist. That's it. No one in the schools or no one in the colleges are teaching like such that we have to become some entrepreneur. Nowadays, people are following Elon Musk, but the Elon Musk drive is also in the kind of engineering only. So we are not following the real stuff of entrepreneurship, what the entrepreneurship really is, because we are not inheriting this thing in our school days, and that is why there is a social barrier. If I speak about the parents, no parent is saying that you have to become an entrepreneur, because once you will discuss these things that I have to be an entrepreneur, either they will be saying you don't have an or our family don't have in this that particular background or that particular experience, how actually this will come up as a career, what will the future of your as a son or a daughter. They are more concerned about those things, so they will never guide you on to this. If I talk about your friends, when I was in my professional life, one fine day I switch over to this entrepreneurship journey. I remember this thing that once I said to my colleagues that I'm going to switch off from this 9 to 5 work, and I'm going to be starting one more of my preschools, and I will be looking out those things. So all will be saying why you are actually living out this good job, this high-paid job, and then trying for something which is not actually your ancestral experience you don't have, and you don't have actual legacy for those things, how you can sustain for those things. So this is how the social barrier comes in, and that is why we all are not going for entrepreneurship things. Nowadays, in schools and colleges, especially BTech colleges, especially graduations, especially MTech colleges, we are starting up with this entrepreneurship journey. Secondly comes, whenever we goes for entrepreneurship, the initial barrier is the constant of the money, because once we are starting up in any of the entrepreneurship journey, we require certain fund, and usually Indian households don't go for funding of those kind of projects or those kind of actually entrepreneurship things. So we are lacking into that. We are more complacent towards actually the 9 to 5 work or government jobs. So we are not actually trying to fetch out our money for those kind of activities, which is actually called as entrepreneurship things. Thirdly, the infrastructure requirement. Whenever we go for any entrepreneurship, we require a huge kind of infrastructure. Either you take in kind of office, or you take in kind of infrastructure, or you take in kind of IPR things, or you take in kind of team management. So a lot money. There is an ecosystem on which we have to fund it, and we have to create. So that is the third barrier which actually we are facing once we are going for an entrepreneurship journey. But out of this box, if I take it, if you compare the country like India, which is having a 130 crores of people, only 0.14 people are there in 1,000. If I take the ratio, I can present that this thing on the my slides also. It is there that out of 1,000 people, only we have 0.14 percentage of people, those who are actually going for an entrepreneurship journey. Either you take the case of BTech students or you take the MTech students. But we have a very less ratio into this. And if you compare the stories of Estonia, if you compare the stories of Israel, or if you take the story of course, South Korea also, Japan also, they are highly actually motivated for these kind of activities. Even if you see the story of China is what they are doing is they have a clusters in their cities, in their town areas, and by that actually they are building up their ecosystem for entrepreneurship, and they are motivating their students, they are motivating their entrepreneurs in a very clustered way, which we are actually not at all following. We are only following as a syllabus in our colleges, in our schools. Okay. uh, Let me tell you how the entry point is. Whenever we are going for an entrepreneurship, what is that entry point? The entry point is either the BTech student or the MTech student will go for an entrepreneurship because he or she actually is into that particular subject he has taken, or some of the extension courses or some of the additional courses they have done onto that entrepreneurship. That is why they are going for this entrepreneurship. Secondly comes the professionals, those who have worked for 15 years or 20 years, and one fine day like me, they try to actually build up their own empire or build up their own things so that they can actually work freely, not on as per those restrictions, whatever the corporates or whatever the government organizations are having. So because they want to do or create something else of their own, and they want to be actually work free-handedly for their kind of things. So that is why they switch over to this entrepreneurship. And thirdly, the most negligent part actually, which is now government of India is also trying, and we are also trying for that. That is the dropouts. Whenever we talk about the dropouts can be 8th pass standards, 8th standard pass students or 10th standard pass students. If you take the case of Canada, there are many more entrepreneurs, those who are actually dropouts, as compared to any of the country across the world. So now Indian government is also trying to pitch those entrepreneurs so that we can actually make them to generate the income. So this is how the entry point of this. I talk about the barriers also, the three barriers. Now, what all the skills actually we require? There are certain skills which we need to inherit once we go for a entrepreneurship. So I will take on step by step what all the skills are required and what all the actually legislations part which is you people all required for those things. So firstly, if I take the this thing, if you go for an entrepreneurship, you have to actually devote yourself. That is, You have to make yourself complacent towards your entrepreneurship journey. That is for inner self. You have to build up your things. You have to be more focused. Your focal point should be on your entrepreneurship. Secondly, you have to estimate your resources, whatever the actual resources you have. Once you start, go for the entrepreneurship. Once you go for an starting of any of the things, you have to first you have to make out what are the things you have in your hand, whatever the people you have in your, whatever the knowledge you have in your. So just judging yourself first and then go for an entrepreneurship. Thirdly, diagnose what are the deficient from your end, what all the things which are actually minus as per the skill wise, as per the knowledge wise, as per the resource wise, what are the things you don't have. Then try to build up those things, whatever you don't have, just jot down on those things, whatever you don't have. Try to try to learn those knowledge also, try to actually build up those resources also, try to build up those ecosystem also. Concentrate on your teams, whatever the teams you have. Try to build up a niche team which is actually more and more ethically right people, more and more very much connected to your idea. Try to connect those teams, try to build up those teams, and then try to motivate those people so that you can actually build up. Once you go for a project mode, once you go on the project mode, then you have to actually build up those things. You have to be a very much motivated person. You do have to be a motivated person, that because you have to work 24 into 7 across all the verticals. Because once we are an entrepreneur, we have to do a marketing also, we have to do a financial things also, we have to do a management also, we have to do a project management also. Even we have to go for a government and corporate licensing also. So each and every task is being taken up by that particular entrepreneur. One or two people are working on that, not more than 10 or 12 people are working on that particular project over that particular actually entrepreneurship things. So all those people, those who are working as an entrepreneur, they should be more and more motivated. Secondly, whenever you are discussing, whenever you are trying to anything, go for any of the thing, just sit with your friends, sit with your actually the people those from with whom you are working, and try to float that particular idea within your people. Try to pitch that idea, brainstorm those things, and then come out with the solutions, whatever the solutions you are. Be more optimistic. Never try to be pessimistic on any of the things whenever you go for project mode. Then there are the certain instances in entrepreneurship journey when you get frustrated, or you are very much low in your, of course, thinkings, and there will be a tough time for each and every person in entrepreneurship journey. Try to actually convert this negativeness with actually in kind of people those who are working with you, to discuss more and more on that, so that they will give you the better resolutions, better solutions for those particular negative aspects of the business, or the business failures, or the low points of those business, so that you can overcome on to that. Then there are a lot many hurdles coming in between this entrepreneurship journey, but the team actually is working on this. Now comes the skills. Suppose um, I and you are the people those who are actually BTech or MTech or BA or MBA. We are not good into good kind of one can say a good kind of presentation, or one can say a good kind of course, financial things, how the financial aspects is working on those businesses, those entrepreneurships, or how the government licensing is being actually done. So we are not good into this, because our learning somehow is more inclined towards either the engineering kind of things, or the general conditions of those, because we are not into this ecosystem of the entrepreneurship. So try to build up those capacity. Try to build up your own capacity. Remember the domain skill. Whatever the domain skill you have, just build your competency more and more into that. Try to give your highest degree of competency of your skill. That is for sure. You have to actually give it. Learn those things, whatever you have actually, whatever you have. Suppose you are more good into designing kind of things, just try to focus more on to qualitative and quantitative respect of designing, because you are the best person those who can design those things. Rest other teams, let X to be work on finance, Y to work on project commitment, Z to be worked on project formulation, and likewise ABC to connect, go for a government licensing. Whatever the core competencies of your team members, make all those people to go for a core competency first. Build up your core competency more and more, qualitative wise also and quantitative wise. Try to learn what is best in the market, what are good innovations into the market. Just try to inherit those kind of things. Then try to learn, of course, whatever the financial learnings are there. You have to actually more and more into what about the how the credit system is working, how the bank system is working, how the loan system is working, what all the financial transactions are there whenever we are actually, how to generate the bill, how to actually create the balance sheet, how to make a credit to debit and debit to credit. You need to learn within 6 months or so. We all learn these kind of things, but we all have to learn for those things because we don't have any skill on that. We have to build up our capacity by ourselves and by our team members also. Try to minimize, go for an wastage of and your energy and your people energy, those which are actually those you can outsource. There are certain services which can you can use easily outsource. Need not to work on that, need not to make your team actually to work into those kind of activities which actually give a wastage towards your time and your energy, but that actually you lose your interest onto that particular project. So just maximize your input and output also, and try to of course whatever the things you can outsource, try to outsource those things. But just jot down all those, list down all those things which you can actually outsource, and what are the this thing, payment to, of course, benefit ratio for outsourcing things. You have to actually make out for those activities too. You have to be intensify on your performance. You have to be actually go for upgradation of your performance within your people. Then analyze, once you are having a capacity, then you need to actually, once you are going for entrepreneurship, you have to be more and more into market research. Market research in the sense, suppose you are trying to go for certain services, or you're trying to build certain commodity, or you're trying to build certain item actually which is more valuable toward the people, and you think that this actually pencil, or this actually pen, or this actually knife, whatever the product you are making, or whatever the service you are making, you have to go for a market research. You have to conduct a judge the market competency also. What are the rates in the market, what are the services in the market for the same services which you are going to actually present for your product as an entrepreneurship. Analyze the future trend, whatever the future trends are there. Whenever we are building any of the project, we are building any of the product or the services, we are taking 10 years in a future hand. Very much futuristic we should be once we analyze our product, once we design our projects or the services, because the demand for that particular product lies up to, you can say, 5 years or 10 years, because so much disruption is there on the innovation or on the technology front, that after 5 years or after 10 years, these services will, or these products will become absolute. But still, sitting at today 2021, I need to think for 2052. So here I must say that you have to be more and more futuristic once we are going for a market scenario. Try to tap whatever the market potential you have. Suppose if you go for any of the services, you know Ola and Uber, how these people are working. And if you go similar kind of services, so you have to tap which people actually are not using these services. Now, Ola and Uber are more into urban areas. There are the rural areas which is not actually been tapped by Ola and Uber. So try to tap and try to go for those potential customers. Try to untap for those customers. Make your services likewise, so that you can target those potential customers. Likewise, always try to appraise the competitors, because once you are in the market, once you are in the entrepreneurship things, you have to actually see for what are the competitors are, what are their services are, how much charges they are doing, how much at what length and at what breadth they are working. Length in the sense, what are the charges, and breadth, of course, what is the number of people they are actually into, or how many people they are serving, and then what kind of way they are actually serving to the people, how they are going for an outreach. If we develop any product, if we develop any services, how we can actually outreach to those customers, those who are our potential customers. Because judging that these are our potential customer is a one way, or you can say one topic, or one part of this thing, and then outreaching to those people is a different aspect. So we have to devise certain mechanism, by that we can actually outreach those people, in the form of in the form of connectivity, who are in very much connect to those people, or those who are using those services. This we need to do whenever we go for a market research. Diversify your services. Whenever you are into any of the service, suppose I take you are into this fooding and packaging, so you have to diversify your service. It's not only that you are going for a delivering kind of things. You have to go for packing services also. I must say, when I was in MBA, we used to see what is the actually complementary products whenever we are designing any of the product. uh, Suppose I must say that if I go for a shoe, a purchase of a shoe in any of the mall or any of the shop, you might have find this thing, and that a policy is also been there, which you can actually purchase, or shoelaces you can purchase, or different type of socks you can purchase. So whenever we go for a sale of any product or sale of any services, try to actually include more of the complementary services, more of the diversification. More and more you diversify, more and more you can actually pitch your people, your customers. So you have to think for diversification part of say, per se also. If you take the condition of COVID-19, our union government, our state government, and any of course, education institutions, they have not actually diversified their part of learning actually, and that is why we failed somewhere once we were trying to deliver the education to our rural areas, because we never thought of those kind of things, that this will happen one day, and we need to diversify the delivery system of our education. And that is why now we are trying to build up our IT system. Now we are trying to build up our education delivery system more robust, so that other pandemic, if suppose someday comes in, I must say it should not be there, but still, if there is any unforeseen into that delivery of education system, we must able to be actually cater for, and that is why the diversification is required. That is why we required a complementary services or complementary learnings into those uh, products or those services. Try to track more and more supportive hands for your products. Whenever we are in the market, we have to go for a not only for the market research, we have to tap those opportunities, we have to tap those potential people also, the connectivity also. uh, I had referred those services or those activities which China is doing. What China is doing? China is doing a cluster kind of things. It is making a hub and spoke kind of network within the city, within the area, within the town, even within the villages also. They are doing the same kind of activity we have to do whenever we are into the market. Now comes after coming out from this, if I go for a market scenario, still you have to, in a market, you have to be very much nearer to your customers, because your customers are only the payers for your services or for your products. So you need to be more and more connected to your customers. You need to be more of course, I must say, whatever your customer satisfaction is there, whatever the customer feedback is there, there should be a robust feedback mechanism from customer to the user, and the service provided to the user after services should be the good. If I take the conditions of certain products in electronic services, and there are certain products, I will not take the names of those of course products, but they become absolute because they don't have an this thing, the good feedback mechanism or the after services, and that is why it's been actually absolute. Or if you take the kind of case of innovation, You might be seeing this today. We all are having a mobile phone, smartphone, having a services which some way or the other Samsung company didn't go for in an initial phase, or Google didn't go for those kind of services in an initial phase. You might be knowing this how Yahoo is working. Yahoo was working very nicely for the customers of India and across the world, but they somehow actually they were not able to judge the disruption of the technology and the customer satisfaction level of the customers, and that is why Gmail has taken over from Yahoo and other services, of course. This is why you have to be more and more connected towards your customer. What your customer wants, actually you have to connect with those people. You have to be a very much once you go for a price quality kind of things, there we have to be actually more and more customer centric. What are the prices which actually customer is uh, able to pay? Suppose if I take any of the project and he or she is not able to pay, there is no such use actually to go for those products or services. So I need to actually research on those, what are the services or what are the actually payout of those particular area or that particular town or that particular city, so that I can actually design my product, design my services as per those things. So it is very much must for an entrepreneur to actually connected towards their customers. Then comes the communication. See, if you see the case of several automobile companies, there were the certain cases in case of Ford also, or in case of other automobile services also. I do remember there was a call from Tata Sumo that more and more Tata Sumo vehicles uh, were actually going off road because the tire of that particular Tata Sumo gets wear out more and more. So what Tata Sumo has done, they called up to their customers, please give back your vehicles to us. We will make some additional innovation into that. We will try to replace some of the technology into that, and then we will give it back to you. So that is how they were communicating politely towards their customer, although they were actually facing huge loss for those things. There are certain services which has been actually they cost so much once you give your services to those particular people, and then they ask, no, this is not working, and then you are actually developing a different design into that. It costs a lot, but the customer satisfaction and the customer connectivity is must, and that is why the companies, that is why the people are doing, and that is how the entrepreneur should be actually. He or she must I must say on the weekly basis or fortnightly basis, you have to be connected with more number of your local area people, or more connected towards your customer. If I take the case of one of the innovation, there was one innovation I keep on actually talking about that particular innovation because it interests me a lot how that particular boy he developed one of the innovations. You might be heard of how our farmers are taking this thing, milk from buffaloes and cows, and I must say long back, after before 10 years back, there was no such machine into that, and it's totally human driven activity where either the ladies or the gents are actually working with the this thing our animals, and they are taking out the milk from those animals. Some 10 years back or 12 years back, company has come out with some of the apparatus which was had very huge, but it can actually measure that particular quantity and the standard of those particular milk also. But the size of that particular apparatus was so huge that people were not able to actually take it because they cannot make it very much comfortable to take it all the places and across you can say places in and around their cities, in and around their villages. So that boy actually he tried to actually go for a certain innovation into that flow so that it becomes a pocket size. And now that particular mechanism by which we can actually take out the milk from all our cows and buffaloes, it's a very much pocket size. It's been actually funded by government of India, and that particular product get best innovation award in our IGNU also, and in India also. And that particular boy went for this thing during a student exchange program with our overseas countries. That boy actually went for that particular innovation too. So that is how the things are. If we are able to tap up the problem area, what the problem area is, what exactly why the people are not taking that particular product, and how I can innovate onto that particular whatever the product we have. If we can able to innovate on that particular product, if we are able to actually design that particular product or services, that can be tapped, and that can be actually delivered to the customers, and that is how entrepreneurships are working. And this is the way we need to work. You need to actually be open with your mind and open with your eyes. What are the services, what are the products which actually are catering towards the people, towards the daily use kind of things. What are the services we can deliver, which can become more and more comfortable for generation to work on, or generation to actually. You might be knowing this thing, that how our this thing computer today. I am talking to you uh, over the phone, and if you see the this thing innovation or the invention of computer, the computer size was somewhere about, I think, like of this 10 by 20 room. It was so much huge, and now our computer becomes a pocket sized computer in kind of this thing, our mobile. So this is the way how the innovations, how the designing of that particular product is going on. It's very fast and it's very disruptive. You might be knowing, when I was in my school days, we used to use alarm clock. Nowadays, there is no such alarm clock. There is no such calendar. There is a lot many things mobile have taken up. So you people might be not going with any kind of inline letter and all, because you are more complacent with us, WhatsApp and with the Instagram, with the Facebook. I must say, you people are the generation of FB or the WhatsApp. But in our days, we used to write the letters to our parents. When I was in BTech colleges, I keep on writing a letter to my parents and all my friends. That is how the innovation and the things are coming up. Uh, Let me take coming on to that the next part. How an entrepreneurship go for at designing a strategy, so that whatever he or she is actually developing, there must be a ton key points for those things. What are those ton key points? Once you are an entrepreneur, first and the foremost thing, whenever you are working as an entrepreneur, try to frame a budget. Whatever the things you are going, suppose you required a pen, a pencil, a desk, a room for staff, two helpers, just rent for those activities, electricity bill for those activities, uh, certain other additional services. Just jot down all those budget for your project, for your, of course, services. Just multiply those particular whatever the expenditure you have, multiply those things with 12 at least months, and that particular budget is required in an initial phase of any of the activity. Any of the entrepreneur has to go for those things. Even once you go for a pitching of your this thing, and once we go, and entrepreneurs go for an innovation or incubation platforms, they pitch their activities, and there you be required to pitch as per the budget plan, whatever the budget plan we have. And in that budget plan, we have to actually see, say what all the actually activities we have to do across length for 3 years, not for 1 year. I'm saying here only for 12 months, but whenever we plan it for 3 years. 36 months we have to plan whatever the budget constraint will be there for the project, for the administrative, for the staff. We have to actually divide it into three. What is the admin cost for that particular project? What is the staff cost for that particular project? What are the project costs for those particular project? And in project cost, we need to actually give what are the infrastructure, what are the resources you require. So likewise, we have to frame a budget for those particular project uh, or the services. Then we have to specify the time frame. Uh, See, once we go for an entrepreneurship pitching, or we go for planning out any of the thing, we need to design a timeline for each and every activity. Suppose idea is there, you have an idea, just sit down with your friends, sit down with your team members to frame out that particular idea. What are the things you have to do? In how many days you can do the market research? In how many days you can go for a pricing for that particular things? In how many days you can go to take all the this thing license and what are the government regulations are there, need to go for the government regulations, need to take all the permissions from. After those each for each and other every activity you have to plan, you have to give it plan a time frame for that, that within a time 3 months I will be okay with the market, then for the next 3 months I will be okay with the government regulations, then for the next 3 months I will be okay with my pilot project or the pilot product, then for the next 3 months, we will launch the project as a pilot and take a research on that particular thing. And after 1 year or so, then we will actually initiate the business. We will try to go for a initiation of business wherein we can actually think for a revenue generation model. So likewise, we have to time frame all those activities. Each and every activity, actually, it should be in a project. The initial phase of each and every activity should be in a project mode. Project mode in the sense you have to be. There are the people those who will be working for each of the sector or each of the actually vertical. You have to give some of the responsibility to those actually individuals that you have to look after these things. This needs to be done by this time. So that is how the project implementation becomes an integral part of an entrepreneurship journey. You have to create a team which is very much ethically right, which understand the problem of this thing, of how the ethics and unethics unethically is actually working in the government sector, especially the procurement, how the procurement is working on to that. What all the laws actually, once you go for an unethical drive to any of the activity, how it will actually in a very long run, this will hamper your activities. So try to be more and more ethically driven people in your team. Just try to judge whenever you sit, whenever you actually plan anything, try to judge your team also how ethically they are right, or what is actually in their mind, whether they are thinking otherwise, whatever the regulations, whatever the legislation is there, because we have to follow those legislation and those regulations. So that we need to do. Secondly, whatever the bills and vouchers, suppose we go for a sale or go for a, of course, purchase of certain goods, purchase of certain articles, need to actually uh, need to, I must say, administer those billings and vouchering of those products, what is in-house to your people, your organization, and what you are going to actually sell it out. Make a coordination with all the service providers because an ecosystem is working. So it's not that you will be working all alone. There will be a market people, those who are there. There will be a vendors for which who will be actually transporting your things. So make an ecosystem very much friendly, very much healthy environment to you to work on. Function. At least 2 to 3 people must be more and more vigilant on the functionality part of the project or the services, because if you will not give this responsibility to 2 or 3 people, the work will get hampered, the project will get hampered. So entrepreneurs need to work on those activities too. Plan your project as so that it can get completed. Whenever it get completed, whenever each and every timeline is being actually been I must say overpowered by you people, you achieve that particular target, try to celebrate that event too, because this particular celebrations gives a motivation towards the entire team that okay, uh, we have actually completed this 3 months of timelines, 6 months of timelines, and 6 more months are being left over, and then we will be on the market for the revenue generation. Although it's not so easy, but still, I must say that whenever we are completing our timelines, whenever certain activities is being done, finished, try to actually try to enjoy that particular activity too. Even with the clients, even with the vendors, because then the vendors and then the clients will be happy with you, and then you can actually fetch out for the whatever the entrepreneurship journey is, not inside the people, over the market actually. And now I comes to that ethics and standard. See, why I'm coming to the standards and ethics. If I take the case of any of the regulation in the government, the statutory requirements, either you take the law in kind of environmental management, or in kind of workplace management, or in kind of HR laws, or in kind of any of the laws which has been actually formulated by government of India, or any of the state laws, we need to be more and more actually learn into that. uh, we are not born to learn uh, for those activities, but because we are into this entrepreneurship, we are into the business, and business has a different actually legislation. We have to go for a GST legislation. We have to read out more and more about GST. What are the different ways? What is the GST in? What is the GST out? How the GST council is working? What are the three more parameters into GST? When we need to file IT filing, from where we need to file IT filing, what are the actually inward and outward towards the GST, what are the dates we need to actually follow, because you being an entrepreneur, you have to do of your own. But either you have a team or you don't have a team, but you have to go for a GST registration, and if you have a GST registration, by 10th of every month, you have to file for that. So you have to read out all those standards. What are the standards for audit reports? What are the standards for quality reports? What are the standards for social reports? Even I'm saying this because there are certain government regulations, there are certain government rules which we need to actually adhere for. There is a timeline given by Government of India. Time and now they are actually floating it on their of course Ministry of Corporate Affairs website also, and other places also. Even you will be getting all those things through the mail that this is to be done by this time. Your IT needs to be filed by end of March every year. By June, this is to be actually 101%. This is to be administered by each and every organization. So there are certain laws. What is the tendering? If you go for a tendering system, all those people, those who are working into entrepreneurship, they must understand what the tender system is, how we can go for a e-tendering, because all the things are nowadays online version. So we have to be more and more into learning kind of things for the services or for the government regulations. We have to be even for maintaining quality of services and to maintain this goods also, you need to learn the quality standard of that particular good, or the quality standard of that particular services. So there are certain regulations into this uh, which we need to follow. Here, can I present some certain slides here?
Sure, sir.
Wait.
So actually, my laptop is having some problem. I'm at home. That's why, sorry, I was not able to help you.
Let me see how can I present screen. Wait a while, I am trying to do.
So now
Can you?
select that file. You minimize this screen and you go to that file, so it will appear.
Okay. Wait a while. Are you able to see?
No, sir.
Now?
No, sir.
Wait a
No,
while.
sir.
Okay, let me give you a brief what all the regulations are. Okay. See, I was talking about the this thing, the standards which we need to follow. Before start of any enterprise, we have to go for certain clearance. Okay, we have to take certain clearance for government officials, government offices. Suppose for a um, environmental kind of activity, we have to take this thing green pollution clearance certificate from the state body, wherever it is, and that is why it is required.
Sir,
So,
whether
pardon me.
this file you want to show?
If you can see this thing, the PDF, if children are able to see the PDF and statutory clearance, I am trying to actually go to that particular page. What the
Yes, sir.
station, that is 10th number page.
Okay. I think this one.
Wait a while, wait a while. Yeah, please. Yeah, yeah. So, see, once we go for this thing, once we go for a statutory clearance means what? Whatever the government regulations are there, what is essential for us to do actually? That is what the statutory clearance is. If you take the case of any of the law, if you see at the down, I have written certain labor laws. So some of the labor laws is very much required for any of the entrepreneurship. If I take, if you are into manufacturing, you have to go for factory act. If you have, but if you are a simple entrepreneur starting a journey with only the office for the creating any of the services, a very must is permission is Shop and Establishment Act, under which we actually register our firm as an individual. You can say as an individual by giving your PAN card, by giving your Aadhaar card, and that too online. You need to only take a permission, pay the required fee that is for 2,000 rupees for a 5 years. Okay, government is asking only this thing that 2,000 by paying 2,000 rupees, you get a license to actually create an establishment, and government will give you a certificate, online certificate, which you will display at your place whenever you are doing, whenever you are actually in your sitting at any, you might be went to any of the shops, or you might have went to any of the offices, there you might have seen some of the this thing license to act kind of certificate is being placed at certain shops and certain organizations. That is what actually the Shop and Establishment Act is. That is completely online. And we need to actually register with us our details, and then get those certificate by paying the fees. If I take the condition, take the case of manufacturing, they have to go for a factory out, factory act. EPF and ESIC, if you have more than 20 number of people, then you have to register for ESIC and EPF, otherwise not. Industry Dispute Act, Trade Union Act, Boiler Act, this all goes for a huge manufacturing units. It is nowhere required for a small entity which is actually more than 20 people and those who are into services. Because in India, we have more and more into services kind of things rather than going for a manufacturing. But if you are into manufacturing, you have to go for this. See, Minimum Wage Act, if you see this minimum wage act, in minimum wage act, it's very much clearly written as per the state guideline or as per the central guideline what you need to actually pay to your individuals, to your staff members. And as if you are paying as per those regulations to your staff, no one can question those. Even your employee cannot question yourself that you are paying me less. So, adhering to these particular things, Minimum Wage Act or Shop and Establishment Act, will actually avoid unnecessary regulations coming in, unnecessary people coming into your premises and actually disturbing you. But if you are into manufacturing, then you have to go for more and more. Can we move on to next page, please?
Yes, sir. This one.
Uh, Please move on top. Down one, move to down, because now very next page.
This one, sir.
After this only. After this is blank, I feel. Next to this. Mm,
This one, list of usual.
this is over. Please move to next. That is 12th number, I feel. This is 10th. So once we follow those regulations, we follow these regulations, we can actually avoid certain unsocial elements and government people to come into our premises and actually ask ourselves to that you are not abiding the laws. If you follow these two of the services, any of the entrepreneur can go for this. This is a very must actually legislation which we need to follow. Please move on to next, madam.
This is blank page,
Yeah.
sir.
Then next.
This is the last page, I guess.
How come? It cannot be. Wait. So let me take from here. I will.
Okay.
So although I may not be able to show you because I'm not so much good in technological front of this mobile. If I will be sitting, okay. So now there comes the corporate acts. See, mm, more number of entrepreneurs are working as a partnership kind of things. There are 2 members or 3 members or 4 members of people, those who are working into this. So uh, they need to follow this particular corporate law that is called as Indian Partnership Act. Just go through those particular act. There are certain regulations being given that how we can actually incorporate a partnership kind of things. Basically, let me give you one idea how we can actually do this partnership act working actually. Go to any of this high court or any of the court. Ask the people those who are working there that I need to go for an partnership kind of business. He or she will actually ask you to go for an this thing notary permission, which is costing somewhere around 800 rupees, and register that particular notary to that particular jurisdiction with 3,000 rupees. That's it. So by that, doing this 800 rupees of notary and 3,000 rupees of registration, your partnership becomes actually a legal entity, and no one can question on that you are not an legal entity. If you go with a company act in the company act, you will come to know what all the types of forms which we can actually work. Even a single people can work, a single human being, a single person, or he or she can work as a one company act also. But once you go for a one company act, a single company entity, there you need to file an audit report yearly. For that, you require a separate kind of Aadhaar card, separate kind of PAN card, separate kind of audit reports. But if you go a single entity as a proprietor, there you need not to furnish all these things. Your PAN card, your personal PAN card, your personal bank details, and your personal Aadhaar card will do. So, in a very basic structure, when we go for a entrepreneurship things, we go for sole proprietorship, wherein we need not to actually take permissions for or take this Aadhaar card, PAN card, and different actually bank account for doing the business. But if you go for a partnership, then you have to go for Aadhaar card also separately, Aadhaar card, PAN card also separately, and also the current bank account. Although it's not very much actually I must say it's not very much tough to take either the Aadhaar card or the PAN card because it's an online thing. For current account, just go to your nearby bank, ask them that I am this thing. I'm running a business, which is a partnership or which is a which comes under this thing Company Act, either the Section 8 company or the simple company. This is the registration certificate for that particular company. This is the name of this particular certificate, and please give me an account. And they will. There are certain charges. Such charges are, you need to actually maintain at least, for sole proprietorship you need to maintain 5,000, and for a business which is company act, coming under company act, there you need to maintain 10,000 rupees in a year. So this is how the act is coming. Then comes the other central laws. If you are falling into, suppose you are working on this thing, hotel industry, so you have to go for a food alteration act also. If you are into pharmacy business, then you have to go for pharmacy and insecticides act also. If you are into soaps, weight and measurement, likewise environmental law we have, in water, air and environment, both of the laws, all the three laws are there. And this is very much necessary for all the enterprises which are actually in the manufacturer. Irrespective of any of the thing, whatever you are making, you have to go with these environmental laws for all the three. You have to take the permission for environmental protection, you have to take permission for water act, and you have to take permission for air act too. So because this is more or less is necessary. Coming down to financial laws, there are certain financial laws which is now being integrated as a GST. So, but still, we need to actually go for how the central sales tax is working, how the excise is working. Excise is nothing but once the item comes from state to state. Suppose you are in Mumbai and I am in Bangalore, so I need to actually send my article to Bangalore or vice versa. So there the excise laws comes in, and we need to actually pay the excise fees for that. So we should know actually what the excise tax is and what are the charges for those things. Likewise, infrastructure laws are there, state to town house. These activities are the actually act. It is not necessary that we have to take that particular license, but we must know about these acts. There are around 70 laws in India which we must know, and only around 10 to 15 laws for which we need to take the license. But understanding those particular 70 laws is necessary. So you required at least a month to understand this, what exactly the law is saying, and where actually I am being fit into this, and what all the license we need to take. Only 15 to 20 licenses are there which needs to be taken for doing any of the. If I take any of the business, not more than 20 laws, 20 licenses, but laws of many, I must say. If you see the infrastructure laws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 laws into this. And which one is more necessary? That is Indian Electricity Act. Because if you are a commercial entity and you are doing any of the business using any of the premises, you have to follow that Indian Electricity Act. And as for that, there are certain requirements to take the commercial electricity and the pay thereon for the users of that electricity. That is only the requirement in this thing, infrastructure laws, for taking as a license, or you can say as a commodity from the government. But you must know about all these things. That is what I am saying. Urban Areas Development Act, I must know what all the things actually government is giving. Why we need to actually read out all these things? There are the certain laws in which we actually came to know about. These are the services actually government is giving to us. If I am into running a business, what all the things government can give me as an urban development promise. So that is why these acts are actually very much necessary. Now, starting a business, if I take this thing that you are going to start a business, a very primary thing for each and every business is there will be one person who will be director. He or she will be the director of that particular company, and director needs to be actually registered with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So how they get registered with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs? They get registered by registering as a DIN, registering the DIN number. That is Director Identification Number. This number is nothing but same like of your PAN number or your roll number in your schools, where you will be allotted with one of the number by Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and against that particular DIN number, you are actually filing all your things, whatever the things you are filing the IT Act, Income Tax Regulation under Income Tax Regulation Act, you are filing against that, and this you can take within 1 day. Uh, just try to connect with any of the CA or CS, although it is charging only 101 rupees. If you take the charge of CC, if you go to any of the in-house services of CFI, they will charge you a bill of 101 rupees. This is now actually been increased somewhere around 501, but not more than that. And you will get a DIN number for 2 years. So registering with CFI, you will get a DIN number within single day. Within a day, you will get the registration number. Then once you become a director of any of the company, you have to register your company. For those things, there are two things which is required. Initially, you required a name to be registered. The name which we register actually shall not be or should not be the name of any of the company, any of the you can say running company. So if I am into any of the business, suppose my name is Pradeep Singh and I am going for a Pradeep Singh enterprise, and if someone is having the same name, then I will not get that particular name. So there, while registering the ROC to the ROC, Registrar of Companies, that is an online thing only. Once we register those things, this will give you on the spot. It will give you it's been registered. Please register with another name. So there, we what we are doing is either we are using S into the prefix or suffix, or using the comma or the dot or the space. Likewise, so but do understand that even a single change, even a spell change in name of the company, it it becomes a different identity. Pradeep Singh is a one identity, and Pradeep Singh's, if I add a suffix into S, this becomes a separate entity. So adding into, or it's very much particular about the name. The correct name of that particular premise of that particular organization is very much necessary. Once we get this ROC, then we go for a registering of our company. This can be done with using any of the CA or CS. Ask those who are very much connected to you in your local area that I require to actually register my company with so and so name. These two will be the directors, or this will be he or she will be the director. Now, because earlier we used to be have two of the directors, now we can actually go for a single entity company also. So now you can register as a single person with the company. But do remember that once you are in company, there are certain legal bindings into that, and when you are a sole proprietorship, your PAN card, your Aadhaar card, your IT will do. So uh, you have to be very much actually decisive into this, that you are going for a company or you are going for a sole proprietorship, because companies are different identity, different articulations into this different legislation, and proprietorship is having a different legislation. Although once your turnover increases or your profit margin increases, automatically that particular entity becomes a comes under the law of Company Act, and that becomes a not the single entity or the sole proprietor. It has to actually transform into a Company Act. Likewise, as per the profit margin, as per the turnover. So then comes what this company seal. You can actually company seal nothing but the stamp of the director company. You will get it within 1 day. Each and every entity has to go for a PAN card. PAN card nowadays you can actually register online. Within 3 days, you will get your PAN card number, and within 7 days, the PAN card will be on your, of course, at the door. So you need not to go anywhere to take any of the services. Register of Companies, Company and Software Establishment Act. I told you earlier itself that it will take around 1 or 2 days. You need to only pay 3,000 rupees for that. GST and all those tax regulations, suppose excise tax or suppose GST, you have to you You have to actually go online, and then you can very well get. Then professional tax, there are certain people, those who are actually working, suppose the CA and CS, those people are working. If they are working as a professional person, like me, I'm working as a professional person nowadays because I'm doing consulting so many people on certain things. So I need to register with MCA, and on the registration, certain tax I need to pay to the government of India on my professional services. Likewise, I told you this will take 2 days. This thing GST will take somewhere around 15 days. Like if you go for EPF and employee insurance, both the things, employee provident fund is something different from employment state insurance scheme actually. In state insurance scheme, the employee get insured for the accident cover, and in EPF, the employee actually is been he or she devoting some of his money for his future. So both the things are separate, and for both the things you have to go for registration. Once you have an people more than 20, so if you have a very less people more than 20 or so, need not to go for that. And within 12 days to 9 days, this you will get. CNCS will be helping you out for these kind of things. You can approach to any of the CA, any of the CS, and you can get these services registered, and your company can work onto that. So this is how the working is. The next is what all the reforms. There are certain reforms. Let me have a water, please. Okay. Okay. So there are certain licenses. I mentioned these license for this environment pollution certificate you required, for food processing, FSL required, or drug license you required, for power you required a new connection you required, and there you need to actually mention what the capacity you will be using. So by that only they will give you whether it's been a the commercial one or whether it's been a normal one, but the enhanced rate will be actually be given to you. So likewise, municipal affairs, the trade license you need to actually go for. Here comes this particular list will give you how many days actually. If you go for a registration of to which department you need to actually go for. Suppose you have to register for an environmental law and forest law. Which department you have to do? What is that particular subject or what is that particular certificate you will be getting, and within how many days? Some of these things you if I take the case of environment law, there are certificates which has been given green, yellow, red. Likewise, as per the waste material, the hazard material for those things, we are giving this red, yellow, green, and the time period for all the things are different. Some is having it to 21 days, some is having a 1 month, and some is even having this thing 2 months also. The highest number of day for getting any of the registration is only for the food industry, because there the team is working on 2 or 3 acts, and that is why it takes some around 140 to 150 days to get a license for establishing any of the hotel industry. It is a complacent actually activity opening, and to get any of the this thing entrepreneur support for any of the things, in district innovation council is there, in which if you see the photograph of one of the district council, um, people can go very well in each of the districts. It's been actually there. People can go into these districts. They can actually ask the people, those who are working there, how I can actually work into this, what all the things I will be getting from government for my services, for my activity, for my entrepreneurship journey. What is the support given by government to us? So likewise, DIC is working. So I covered 2 of the things to you. Firstly, this thing, how the entrepreneurship journey is, what all the things as a uh, individual you required, as a team you required, how the capacity building, how the market research will actually help you out for those things. What is now? I will give you some of the basic entrepreneurship setup actually. why this is required, or if you take the solution, if you go for those things, why, when it is required and why it is required. If you take the any of the business, why, how you are starting actually an entrepreneurship journey. We are starting entrepreneurship journey. Madam, you can actually now stop presenting. I will be taking out of the presentation now. So, now once we and I must say, Parvati madam, if someone is taking the photograph, please let me know so that we can have a photographs also for the session as a record. If I take the basic setup for entrepreneurship development program, so how it's been actually done? It's been done with the generation of the idea, and how the idea is being generated. Idea is being generated if we know the problem setup, which actually problem you are going to cater. If you know about the problem setup, and out of those two problems or four problems or 10 setup of the problem, which problem setup you need to go and actually address those things. So if you know the problems, if you know the problem, then you can go come up with a solution, and this is how the generation of idea comes in. So I must say that there is a necessity for each and everything which creates an any innovation or which creates an any invention or discovery. So necessity, or you can say the problem will be there. Just try to look up in around your what is that particular problem which you can actually cater, and for that you actually need to build a services for which you need to build a solution. Once you get a solution, just try which tool, what is that gap area which actually is being left out. There are certain market people or potential companies, those who are working in that particular segment, but still I must say there are certain gap areas on which you can actually work. If you take the case of IRCTC is working on Indian Railway ticketing system, and the left out gap area for that particular IRCTC was the left out this thing for IRCTC was they were not able to actually give a local ticket, that is platform ticket, to the people in through online mode. Last 2 years back, during, I must say, even in the COVID time also, last 2 years back, some of the organization has come out with a solution that still this area is being left out. And why not to start these services by which we can actually get a platform ticket, or for local trains we can get a ticket by using either the Paytm or the other platforms, either the transaction platforms. And government has taken this initiative. Okay, this can be done. This is being left out. So that is how the you need to actually see which is the gap area for that particular service, for that particular problem. Once the business is being generated, once you actually take out this idea to work in, then you have to actually go for a prototype of that particular idea with certain alternatives. Designs for each of the problem setup, design at least 5 of the alternatives, whether this will work or this will work or this will work. So designing these particular alternatives means you are actually taking care for plan A to plan B to plan C. Uh, in the previous talk, I told you why our education system was actually lagging behind, because we didn't take off this plan A to plan B for plan C for delivering of education. And this is now we are administrating. This is our government is actually administrating for those things. So in a business setup, if we have done in a earlier stage, we will not be actually doing it later stages when the actually unforeseen comes in our business. So that is how the things are. Computer assessment, I told you, estimate your sales whenever you are planning your business module. I told you you have to plan a budget, but additionally to your budget, just administer, just calculate, try to estimate what all the services or what all the products you are going to sell out, how many people you are going to sell it out, what will be the revenue generation which you will be actually coming in with. So by that actually business proposition, you will come to know what actually I need to minimize as per the expenditure purpose, or which which are the services I need to actually pay for outsourcing, and which are the services I need to actually learn and do of my own. So you have to actually, for a year, or I must say for 3 years or so, each and every entrepreneurship needs to actually work on their sales area also. What is that particular target area? What will be the sale income to that? What will be the revenue after taking out all the expenditure? What is the income generation into that? And how I can utilize that particular income for again the capacity building, or again the resource building of my team people. Try to work into this working capital, whatever the working capital. Suppose by working capital I mean to say, what is the power charges you are actually giving, what is the rent actually rent out things which you are going to pay, what are the salaries of the employees. So these all three comes in the working capital, and you have to actually work into this, which actually what are the services by which you can actually minimize your working capital. Try to work even I must say fortnightly or monthly. You need to work on those things. Okay, and then comes the seed fund. Seed fund nothing was this thing, how you can generate a funding towards your project or towards your uh, product prototype or services. So some of the startup capitals are being given by government of India, some is being given by private players, some is being given by uh, of course banks also. But go to anywhere. Either you go for venture funding, or you go for banking system, or you go for seed funding. Each and every person is giving you a form of loan, I must say, which they are actually taking it back in kind of uh, interest on those particular seed funds or on those particular capital. So do administer meticulously which actually firm or which organization is giving us a fund, and where I can actually minimize my expenditure to get or generate that particular fund. So once you are going for a pitching of your ideas to multiple stakeholders who are giving you the fund, either the VC or otherwise, or even the banks, just check it out whether SBI is giving me in a lesser interest, or RBI is giving me in a lesser asset, or NABARD is giving me and in a lesser asset. I must say here, certain startups is being funded by CSR also, and there you need not to actually give the interest. But fetching out CSR money into startup and innovation is a very difficult task for every entity. But here the role comes in for the institutions like of education institutions. Any of the institutions, those who are NAC accredited, or those who are actually UGC accredited or AICT accredited organizations, they can very well go for CSR kind of things. Um, each of the corporates are coming in for giving them the CSR for their innovations and for their startups. So there they can actually help out those students, those who are into entrepreneurship. Registration, I told you, you need to actually think for whether you go for an unlimited company or not. Evaluation of business premises, you have to PAN, TAN, bank account. It is must. Now comes how the Mudra loan or the Prime Minister Mudra loan is there. Why the Mudra loan is there? Who, on what basis Mudra loan is being given? Loan is being given to you, any of the entrepreneurship whose project is being actually is feasible to generate some of the revenue or generate some of the income generation. And all of those banks, either the NABARD or the SIDBI or the RBI, each and every bank is evaluating that particular project first, that whether this been actually creating any income, or whether it's creating any of the revenue, or whether it's actually enhancing the GDP of country, then only they are giving you this particular Mudra loan. There are different types of Mudra loans. Three of the segments are there, but you need to plan your project for those things, which I will tell you in later stages. Which are already available on easy terms of your business. Okay, there are certain loans. There are certain loans and schemes given by state governments too, which is being actually given by state governments, which fetch actually less interest to you, But of course, there also you have to go for this thing, uh, mm, um, referring your project, showing your project, showing your prototype. Even some of the prototypes, you have to actually go for a pilot project also with prototype. So uh, coming out with these type of funding, it requires a huge actually people to work into that. You require a marketing plan for each and everything. You require a pamphlet brochure once you are setting up your things. For online presence, even the Google, even the Facebook, and even the WhatsApp are working. So these are the places where you can actually nowadays start working in once you are going for a business kind of things. Brochure and pamphlets were the earlier ones. I must say, still it is working, but due to during COVID times, I must say that the online kind of presence is more and more giving benefits to all the entities, those who are working as an entrepreneurship and otherwise. There are certain stationery you need to actually maintain a certain legislation of this cash books, like cash books, order books, payment register. This all you need to actually administer at your offices once you are working on those things. Uh, Partnership, I told you, yearly account, I told you, internship development schemes. There are certain schemes. Loan without guarantee is being given only by Mudra Yojana up to 10 lakhs of rupees. That is being given by this thing, Prime Minister Mudra scheme. And one more funding is being given by government, that is Pradhan Mantri Income Generation of Income Plan. That is for entrepreneurship development schemes. There are two of these schemes on which we need not to give anything as a collateral, I must say. So without a guarantee, you can fetch some of the income towards your this thing entrepreneurship journey. But this is for a time period, only for 1 year, or certain ways only for 3 years, certain places. After 3 years or so, again you need a friend to work for your things. But by that time, you might be actually able to generate the revenue. So need not to think for those things after 3 years or so. Secondly, there are certain microfinancial institutions are there nowadays. Even the foreign funding is being given by through these MFIs, and you can generate those funds from there for your entrepreneurship. Um, Now I will take 15 more minutes or so. How you can generate your Aadhaar card. Let me give you the some very basic idea. It's a very simple thing to generate an Aadhaar card. But any of the entrepreneurship, they require not the simple Aadhaar card. The Aadhaar card which is being actually for entrepreneurs, they require this thing Aadhaar card is by the name of Udyog Aadhaar. So Udyog Aadhaar is nothing. It's a 28 number wherein we are giving a name of the owner to that. Then you are validating your number of that particular organization through your only given number. Your mail ID you are actually giving, your social category you are referring, and on that you have to actually refer your name of the enterprise, type of organizations, whether you are into manufacturing, whether you are into services. That is how your postal address, whatever your office address will be there. uh, you have to actually give a date of commencement when you have started your things to start work, previous registration things. Bank details is must for generating an Udyog Aadhaar. So before going to generate a Udyog Aadhaar, you have to give bank details. Here I must say, if you are a sole proprietorship, just give all your details, your personal details, that is bank detail with IFSC code, and just upload the checkbook. I must say, upload the photocopy of that checkbook to your this thing once you are registering for Udyog Aadhaar, and you will be getting manufacturing service. I told you there is once you register for Udyog Aadhaar, it's under MSME online platform, and once you register for those things, the platform will ask you national industrial classification NIC code, and this you can take up on the online itself, because with the same where you are filling up your NIC code, on the same page there is a separate link given to you. As per your services or as per your product, you can choose your services. It's a 2 number based, 3 number based, and 4 number based NIC codes, which you can actually choose of your own. and choosing your number, it will reflect this actual product he or she is going to deliver, or this service he or she is going to deliver, and by that you are able to generate this thing, the Udyog Aadhaar card on MSME platform. So government of India has made it mandatory to each and every person to go for the Udyog Aadhaar card if he or she is going for entrepreneurship journey. As a Startup India plan, it is must that we should be actually in possession of Udyog Aadhaar card. That is why I'm telling you here that it is very much necessary. In Udyog Aadhaar card, there is one more thing it's been actually asking, that is, what is your investment plan into your organization? There you can very well say zero amount of rupees itself, because once you are registering, there can be a condition that you are registering from a raw, from scratch, and there you can register a zero rupees to that. Okay. And by that you will be getting this thing. Once you are submitting it, within 3 days of time you will be getting your Udyog Aadhaar card. PAN card, I must say, I can say that you people might be knowing how you can generate the PAN card, but if you still required, you can go through NSDL website. If you go for an NSDL website, you will come to know what exactly is how to register for this PAN card. Now I'm giving you some of the ideas about Mudra loan. What is Mudra loan is? Mudra loan is being started in 2013. Government has given some of the statistics that there are this number of somewhere around 5.77 crore MSME, small and micro units are working in India, and around 12 crore people are working into that. So, and those all 12 crore are on the sole proprietorship. It's not the company-based things. So, and all this sole proprietorship is actually in one way or the other required fund to work in. 60% of units are owned by persons belonging to SC, ST, and other backwards. So you can actually see how badly people in working in the MSMEs, how people badly working in on entrepreneurships require this particular fund, and that is why Government of India comes in 2013, in 2014 that okay, once our honorable Pradhan Mantri, Mr. Modi, he comes in with a plan on the 8th of April 2015 that government will be floating this Mudra loan without collateral. It means you need not to actually give this thing anything as per the guarantee you can go for. So they made a plan wherein an ODO of 5,000 is being sanctioned by Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Mudra loan can be given up to 10 lakh rupees to generate an income for micro enterprises, and there are 3 levels into Mudra loans. First one is where you can get a fund of 50,000 rupees, that is being called as Sisu. Second is being called as Kishore, from 50,000 to 5 lakh rupees, and third one is 5 lakh to 10 lakh of rupees. More focus is being given on Sisu, so that a small enterprises, even a ready people, even a small vendor can work into that, so that giving a 50,000 rupees without actually collating any of the article or any of the, you can say, security deposit, he or she can start working into that. And that is why more and more emphasis is being given by Government of India for Sisu loan. So Government of India has launched this thing, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, and on that, who all are the eligible borrowers? There are individuals, those who can ask for that, property consultancy, partnership firms, privately limited company, public company, any other legal firms. These all are the necessary. These all the borrowers, eligible borrowers, who can actually very well go in. But getting a Mudra loan, again, you require your proposal to be submitted to bank. You go to any of the bank, just ask them that I require a Mudra loan to work in. They will ask you for which actually commodity, for which services you are going to start, or which product you are going to sell it out, or which product you are going to make, and you have to actually give a project for that. So this is a must for taking any of the Mudra loan from any of the of course, either the financial institutions or the banks. Of course, Mudra loan is being given only by the bank, not the financial institutions. By some way or the other, you have to actually submit your things. Purpose of assistance is being Mudra loan is the once you get a Mudra loan, you will get a Mudra card too, and by that Mudra card, you can very well use it like a debit card and take out your money as per your ease, as per your comfortable ways across India, across world. That is what the thing is, and it's been given free of cost with a free credit system also over and above your loan. That is, suppose you have gone for a Mudra loan for 50,000, but if you require more than that 50,000, the OD facility has been given to that particular credit. I must say that particular debit card, the Mudra card. If you are an owner of Mudra card, you can very well go for enhancement of your this thing, Sisu to Kirosor, Kisor to Taran. And interest rate, actually, this is been administered by RBI and the relevant banks also. So, but it varies. It differs from state to state also, and it differs from government to government. But rural India, there are the certain banks who are giving up to 6%, and in urban area there are the banks those who are actually fetching out up to 12% also. So it depends. Even the cooperative banks are also working. There is no such upfront fees. There is no processing fees for Mudra loan. If you go for a Mudra loan, other loans you have to actually give a payout of 1% or 2%. But in Mudra loan you need not to give. So that is what the Mudra loan is. Up to 10 lakh of rupees. Tenure of assistance is for 3 years. That is 36 months. And repayment modes are variable. You can give as per the credit card CC limits also, and as per the OD limit too. So you can give it in installment base. You can give it in a suitable installment basis, or you can give it in a one-time payment also. So there are suitable moratorium also been given on the cash flows of Mudra loan, which we can actually take it out once we will discuss Mudra loan in a brief, and that I can actually tell you. So where to approach for getting this Mudra loan? Suppose you are a borrower. There is a process flow for getting this particular Mudra loan. So you can go to scheduled commercial banks like public sector and private sectors. You can go to very well regional rural banks, RRBs. You can go to cooperative societies, state cooperative societies, urban cooperative societies, and MFIs also. MFI is nothing but microfinancial institution. There you can go. You can go and ask very well that I am an entrepreneur, or I am going to start my journey as an entrepreneur, and I require this much fund, 50,000 to 10 lakhs of rupees, and how you can help me out. So they will give you a pro forma for that, what the pro forma is, and how the Mudra loan can be given to you. They will give you the complete template of that particular project. This is the template of the project work, which actually you need to give us. These are the documents which you need to prepare to give it to us, and within 7 days of time, you will be getting a Mudra loan to you. Even during COVID time, I must say that there was the certain instances that Mudra loan has been given to people within 2 days. Those who are the previous, I must say, customers of that particular Mudra loan, they have been actually given Mudra loan within 2 hours or 2 days of time. So that is how Mudra loan is working. Mudra loan is working with 27 banks, 17 private banks, and 27 regional banks with microfinance institutions across India. So this is how there are for Mudra loans, there are certain nodal officers also. There are, and all those branches of SIDBI, if you go to any of the branch of the SIDBI, you will get one nodal officer for nodal Mudra loan, and ask there to those nodal officers that I particularly required this loan from your end, from SIDBI, and he or she will be actually helping you out. Now, there are certain managers, those who are actually very well connected to me, those who are working with SIDBI. If anytime, any way you are stuck up for these kind of activities for getting Mudra loan and all, please let me know. I will help you out on those. And that is why the nodal officers have been connected to me, because entrepreneurship journey is with this ecosystem, and we are working on those ecosystem. Even because I am an IIC council member also, so even the RBI officers are very much connected to us. So that is why there are 25 MFIs. If you this MFIs, I will actually give you by a separate PDF what all the those MFIs are and the name of this listing with the places actually. Um,
Sir, if it's possible, we can plan for 2 3 days workshop also with our students. They can also support
so
developing some
okay.
plans.
Because I will, and with this, I have completed today's session up to now. How this entrepreneurship is and what is that Motorola and all. Two of the things are being left over. That is Startup India plan. What is that? Government of India has floated in 2015 earlier. Then 2019 they have actually come up with the new of the plans. So there is one more class I must say, and this thing, Pradhan Mantri Income Generation Program. So two of the classes have been left over to actually administer the whole setup of entrepreneurship things. How the we can actually make our youngsters to understand that funding of those things. Rest challenges and all been actually been covered. Only thing funding is been covered for Mudra, and for SIDBI and startup, I can take sessions on next sessions. So here I am ending. Thank you. Thank you for patiently listening to me. And any of the queries, any of the questions, please let me know.
Girls, if you have any queries, you can talk to sir. Thank you so much, sir. You have shared lots of experiences with us, and I believe that definitely our students explained enhance their knowledge regarding entrepreneurship development plan and small scale industry different programs, and definitely they will work on it, and we will see if it is possible for us next month we can plan for 2 3 days workshop with our
That is
students.
if we take that this entrepreneurship development, at least 3 days it required to
uh,
set up.
And actually, this course has been designed for interior decoration and RM department, resource management department students. So I
Okay.
think they can also give some inputs from their own learning, like how they are doing different practical in under their BSc course curriculum, and they have like now getting training from their expert about different designing concept and management concept, so they can utilize those inputs for their plan, and we can think over it.
Okay. It's great to hear that people are working with experts also on that. It's good to hear.
And sir, I request all of the students, many students, your seniors are working with sir as an intern. If you are really interested to work in this sector, the sir is the right person who can guide you properly, and you can explore more information, not only from your own locality, from all across India. And many students, even from Tamil Nadu, they are working in other state online mode as a research intern. And last year also sir has supported us to get internship like program in online mode for our almost more than 28 students. So if you are very much interested, you can join those programs also, and you can communicate to sir also. I will share all the information with you all, so anytime you can talk to sir and you can ask any kind of queries related with this subject. Okay, thank you sir, thank you so much. Girls, any queries you have?
I
Anyone?
suppose I suppose no queries or queries can be on later stages because the session was so long. They might be thinking for which to actually ask. That is what.
Yes, sir. Again, we will try to like conduct this kind of program for our students, and I believe that you will going to help us also. Thank you so much,
Okay.
sir. So, Nityashree, over to you.
Okay, ma'am. A warm and a graceful noon to our chief guest, respected ma'am, and my dear friends. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of our department and all students. I would like to extend my heartiest thanks to our most honorable chief guest, key speaker, Mr. Pradeep Kumar Singh, CSR professional, for his presence in this occasion. Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your inspirational words with a clear explanation about entrepreneurship development, establishing a small-scale enterprise, and what are all the barriers about entrepreneurship and the key building as an entrepreneur, sharing ideas with a possible solution, and to be updated as an entrepreneur, marketing techniques. Thank you, sir. We learned a lot today. Thank you, ma'am, for giving this great session, which is so useful to know about entrepreneurship in different roles and more about entrepreneurship. I want to thank the students present here for paying your attention and learning. I will end my speech here. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Netaji, and thank you to Coordinator Parvati Madam. Thanks for your vote of thanks. You can very well connect me anytime and ask Parvati Madam to actually explore more of the ideas about the entrepreneurship also and internship also. And we are into this public policy also. And those who are actually interested, please let us know. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, girls. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Meeting. Thank you all.